Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at some of the best, cheapest Samsung phones that you can basically buy in 2024. And these kind of range all over the place. But I will tell you probably the best price and the cheapest priced, Samsung phone I could probably think of in my head is probably the Samsung Galaxy S21. I genuinely do think this is probably one of the better, phones you can probably buy from Samsung. It's not super expensive. It doesn't cost an insane amount of money. And from a price per dollar perspective, it is probably one of the best priced, it is probably the best priced phone you could probably buy from Samsung. They're available all over the place in the used market. They're really not like super expensive or anything like that. And I genuinely do think, once again, like if I'm going to go ahead and buy some sort of, phone, the Galaxy S21 with its beautiful display, it's still a very good 1080p 120Hz panel, a really good camera setup, 8K capability with that triple camera setup, very fast performing chipset, it had that Snapdragon 888 chipset inside too, 8 gigs of RAM, like there's not really, anything super bad going on with this particular product, and I still think it's a very, very good phone when it comes down to it. So if I'm looking at some sort of product, if I'm looking at some sort of phone, I definitely do think at the end of the day, this is a very, very good phone when it comes down to it. It still has a lot of power and a lot of capability. And I generally do think this in and of itself is a very solid phone I'd recommend the average person to buy. If you want to go one step even a little bit cheaper, if you kind of want to, the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE is another option you have as well. This is also going to be a pretty cheap phone you can buy. It's not really going to be super expensive either. And I do think that's a very, very good option. Like if you're in the, if you're in the used market, that's a very good option you can always pick up as well. Now, another phone I throw in here too is the Samsung Galaxy S22. I think the Galaxy S22 is a very good phone. I love the S22 when it first came out, and I still think it's still a pretty decent phone. For the most part, Samsung did fix a lot of issues that we had with that previous device. And I do think, once again, this in and of itself is another really good asset for this type of, for this type of phone. You can go ahead and buy this phone for the most part and still feel like you have a pretty good, relevant phone for the most part. There's not really anything super bad going on with this phone, which is something I like. You're still getting a really good display. You're still getting a very good, camera for the most part as well. The only bad thing about this phone at the time was basically like the battery and that kind of like throttling sometimes. But I do think Samsung, for the most part, fixed a lot of those issues. And I do think this is in and of itself another really crazy thing going on for this particular phone. So if you're wanting to get another phone that's fairly cheap for the most part, then that's another really good option as well. I would probably say the Plus and Ultra models of these particular phones too are probably pretty decent options as well. So you can always go through and, buy those types of, phones if you want the Plus and Ultra models. But if you want some of the best cheap, Samsung phones I'd recommend, those are probably the ones that I would probably recommend at the end of the day. So that pretty much covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.